Intro delay, Ty.
There's nothing that stops you.
An aggressive growth sense out of
Yeah, so you get to read in the first chapter. Even better.
Shield Law.
Indeed. You know,
Good morning, Ty.
Good morning, Shar. How are you? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Living the dream. You know, it's a new month. It's a new vision. Every single time we get together, it's like we just have this electrifying leadership moment where we just get on these lives. And I feel like we're just like, oh, we just want to give it all. We just want to help everybody.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think that it's naturally who we are. It's why we're here. It's why we're called to serve. It's why we do what we do. And it's how we make a difference.
Mm. And guys, you know, I wish you would have these same experiences in your journey as an entrepreneur, as your journey into becoming your own CEO, because many times Ty and I have seen this, a corporate America, you know, experience and people get stuck there and they can't translate it even to create a new experience for them. So we're hoping that as you watch these lives and you get to continue to be a part of our webinars, our 3-day challenges, and our in-person events, as well as our upcoming CoachCon, that you're able to see your journey with people who actually are doing the work. And Ty, that's the segue into why we're here today, to serve everyone, because you and I are doing the work.
You know, 100%, Shar. And, you know, just to touch on what you just said, it's about the community, right? It's not just about doing this alone. A lot of coaches, a lot of business people feel isolated on their journey, and you don't have to feel isolated, right? Whether you join a community, whether you attach to a mentor, whether you go to a conference, there are other people like you doing the same thing that you are doing, and it doesn't have to be an isolated journey. Now, to that point, Char's right. Char and I have been doing this for decades. Like we've been through it. We've been through tons of communities. We've been through tons of events, and we know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're here to actually help you navigate that.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. And, you know, as Ty and I continue to do these lives, as well as we, you know, continue to coach you, we want you to reach out to us and connect with us. You know, there's never been anything we haven't seen yet. And so if that be told, we just want you to know that it's a safe place to ask questions. And of course, to be vulnerable. A lot of times leaders, you know, who are at the highest level of their game, you know, sometimes you might feel like you can't ask because everyone's looking at you for the answer. And Ty, that's not true.
No, not at all. You know, a lot of this is interesting, Shar, because you know when we talk about what we're going to be doing, the reason why we're here, and the culmination of all of these lives, it's very much hitting on that topic, right? It's not just you being the coaching expert or you needing a coaching expert. It's about you participating in a journey with people who you are mentoring and people who you want to be mentored by. You're sort of in this cycle of evolution, and you're bringing people with you, but you're also passing on to others. You're learning from others as you share with, you know, the folks you want to inspire. And so it is just a continuously evolving journey, and it's a journey that, you know, even as I have clients, I learn things. I learn things from the clients that I engage, I mentor, I coach, and I'm able to share that with other clients in an innovative way, or adapt a way that I'm doing. But ultimately, we are all on an evolving journey, and we're all evolving together.
That's right. And as you think about this today, guys, this is a perfect segue into clients that we've coached that have never, ever had to have 100,000 followers in order to be a successful 6-figure coach and beyond. Many people will tell you that you need hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, or if you haven't gotten your 1 million views yet on YouTube, that you're not relevant, that you're not able to close business. And that's not true. You and I, Ty, are here today to tell everyone you could do it today instantly with what you already have.
I will tell you, Shar. So interestingly enough, I'll tell you the story about how my first set of coaching clients, as I launched my own coaching business in 2018. So I'd been, you know, obviously I'd been a leader in American Airlines. I'd been managing my staff. I'd been, you know, growing the organization. I'd been founding companies. I'd been building teams. And so I knew what it meant to lead people and coach them to performance. But when I decided to become a coach and I got certified by Gallup as a strengths-based performance coach, it was at a Dinner Blanc party in Paris that I sat next to somebody who was connected to the HR industry in Jamaica. And, you know, it call it the universe, call it God. You know, we sat next to her, we had a conversation. I told her what my background was, what my PhD was in. And, you know, she invited me to come to Jamaica at an HR conference and speak to an audience of folks on generational differences in the workplace. And I flew down to Jamaica in October of that year, and I gave the presentation. And then I was invited from that presentation to participate in a leadership development program with the largest investment bank in the Caribbean. And I got to coach some of their leaders in that first cohort. But I didn't have 10,000, 100,000 followers. I wasn't an influencer on social media. I networked in an audience of people, and I participated in the community, and then I presented my knowledge and my expertise, and then I got a coaching contract with 13 coaching in the program. There were 13 leaders in that organization.
Wow. And Ty, there's two things I want to just emphasize from your own experience. One was you are not familiar yet with all of the workings in the HR industry, right? You had not only a title of interest, you had also what I consider rules of the game of coaching. Like you had mastered that enough so that when you had that opportunity to sit by, and I believe in God, I believe in the universe, I believe that we're magnets for our own success and that we're going to attract the things that build us and help us. You were able to carry that conversation so that when you got on stage at the first level of event, and then of course the second level, when you were in a high level room of C-suite executives who hopefully have managed maybe millions and billions of dollars, you didn't change. You didn't change anything you were doing because it was enough for them to say, I'm going to be able to hear from Ty and hear the impact message I need, be able to understand what I need to do to create impact in my own organization. And third, you were able to lead that conversation, Ty. That's the magic of who you already are, everybody.
Yeah, no, I walked in there with, and to give you an idea, the timeline was I got certified in June. I believe we had the dinner in July, and my engagement was in October. So it's not like this took a year. It was all happened in a matter of months. And with that, what I would encourage, what I would say is definitely, a lot of us fight imposter syndrome. On the flip side, a lot of people go in not having a substance and just, having the delivery, but not the substance. You've got to really understand who you are, know what you're about. As you said, Shar, be very convicted in your structure and what you're going to deliver, and then stay consistent, stay true to who you are, stay authentic, and deliver the value that you were meant to deliver as a coach. Deliver the value that you showed up to share with people.
Well, and I want to say this, guys, this is not found in one book. This definitely is not found in 10 books. This is found in what I consider the trifecta approach. You have to have experience. You have to put in the reps. I know that's the part that no one wants, right? Everybody wants $1 million business, Ty, without the reps. I just don't get that. When you guys are listening to the gurus on stage and they're at this level that, they're charging $100,000 just to talk to them for 10 minutes, they don't tell you all the reps they did. That's the part when they say, just follow your passion. Let me tell you, let me unpack that for you. That's the second thing. The reps are a part of that trifecta. The third part, and this is probably where Ty, you and I have just been able to be part of our own secret sauce, is you have to actually walk the talk. If you're going to be coached, be coachable. If you're going to teach people to be coaches, then do you have a coach? Do you actually have a coach that mentors you in these things that you're looking for to do? Because then that's where the integrity lies. And Ty, you and I have done this for clients. We've done this in our businesses. We've done this decade over decade.
Yeah, it's one of it's remember when we started, it's one of the things we said, right? You have to learn and be inspired by others and adapt it, and then share with others that you're mentoring and inspiring as well. And so it is a consistently fluid structure. You can't be the brainiac and you can't just read books and then suddenly start coaching people. You touched on it, Char. You have to have experience. You have to make sure that you're delivering value, and then you have to make sure that you're being coached, and you have to do the reps. And so too many times in this industry, and because it's an unregulated industry and there's not a lot of oversight happening, too many times people pop up and say, I'm going to be a coach today, and you don't understand like the power that you have in that title of coach is you're holding somebody's life, their future, their business. They are depending on you to come with what they need to be able to survive. And for people who have it, people who've been through the reps, people who know exactly how to do it, you are the folks that they're looking for. And you are the reason that they are going to either be convinced coaching works, or for the people that aren't doing it correctly, that the reason coaching doesn't. And so if you make the commitment to become a coach, if you make the commitment to do this, you don't need 100,000 followers. You need a strong message, you need value, you need commitment to what you're about to do, and then you need to put in the reps to get it done.
Right. And so, Ty, you and I are going to share today a couple of case studies or stories of clients that we're working with, because, guys, you have to understand, you got to start somewhere, and today's the best day to start. It's not to start 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. I use the example of marathon runners. And Ty, you'll probably get a chuckle out of this. You know, I've met people who are like, I'll go get the shoes, I'll go get the shirt, I'll go get the shorts, I'll go get the headband, I'll go get the water bottle. And then I said, have you started running yet? They're like, no. I got to get ready. And I'm like, we're always going to be forever getting ready. And that's where we miss the opportunity. That's where the universe says, sorry, we're going to have to come back around again when you're finally ready just to start. And so our invitation today, guys, as we share these case studies, is to start where you are, because it's great enough. And it's enough for you to start because you know enough to start. So Ty, let's talk about a recent client that you were sharing with me backstage about where they are in their business, because you've been coaching them through what I consider probably the reps so that they actually could just exercise the muscles to start a coaching business.
So, you know, I'm pretty proud of this because I met I met two young ladies when I was at an event in January of this year. And these are women who are, one's employed in a corporation, the other one has, you know, a coaching company that she's been working on. And we added a third later on in our cycle because she was somebody that wanted to get into coaching and was a consultant or, you know, a therapist and wanted to really migrate into a coaching business. And we put our little cohort together, and every other week we meet. And, you know, I coach these women. I give them, most importantly, I get them out of their way, because everybody gets stuck in, do I need to be perfect? What do I need to do? Like, we ask these questions, we cycle these questions. Our singular goal for the past 3 months, 4 months has been get to market. We have 3 months to get to market. That was the singular goal. And I had to push them through. It doesn't need to be, the website doesn't need to be pretty. Your videos don't need to be all backlit and everything like that. What you need to do is get to market, singularly get to market. And so we work consistently. What is the product? How is it positioned? What is the pricing? What is the offer? What's the value? How do you demonstrate that value? Every time we met, we did that. And we did it to the point where I have to say we started in February and March, April, May. So our 3-month mark was last month. And one of those coaches closed 7 clients.
Wow. Guys, I don't want you to really miss this part of it. So I want to make an exclamation point, Ty. 7 clients in a 3-month sprint.
That was our last.
Not 2 years, not 15 years later, not spending $100,000 on ads, just with what they already knew. And because Ty's guidance and support, and you know, Ty, I want to say this because I know you're going to bring the punchline. Ty paid for all of those moments so that he could coach that client. He has paid it by his career. He has paid it by his own development, our own journeys of unbecoming this person that sometimes, you know, we get attached to.
Loads.
Right? And all the experiences. Right? So I just want to make sure, guys, you know, when he says that, it's not because, oh, of course, he knows. It's because we've paid it with blood, sweat, tears, financially, emotionally. We've paid for it in some way. So that's why the value of what I consider getting the roadmap, the blueprint, the framework of it from coaches like Ty and myself is because we're saving you time, helping you make money, and we're getting you to the goal that you want. So Ty, continue on with this story.
You're absolutely right, though, Shar, because it is a 14-year career in a corporation that I've had multiple leadership roles in. It is a 20-year career in startups and different enterprises that I've started and built and grown and failed and did better at and pivoted and figured out how to survive. It's a consistent evolution, and it's 3 degrees. It's a bachelor, master's, and a PhD. It's several certificates. It's, you know, my background on my wall. You know, that's not all decorative. You know, they're all accomplishments that I've made. So I paid a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of failure to be able to share with people. And those 3 women saw it, and they invested the time and they did the work. And like I said, 7 clients for one. The other one, who's still in a full-time 9-to-5 job, closed her first client at the end of last month. And she has 2 more in the pipeline. And then the other one is really like she is positioned to go. She had a little bit of a longer journey just because she had some interruptions in between, but she will close her client this month. And so all of that to say the commitment of working with someone, the commitment of staying true to yourself and doing the reps, and the commitment of really making sure that you partner and invest and give yourself that freedom to really discover who you are and lean into your coaching, lean into the value you want to provide and deliver it to people who want it. That will get you a lot further than becoming an internet influencer at 100,000 followers.
Well, and I want to segue because I think a lot of people, when they hear your story, right, Ty, they go, that's not me. I'm not a 9-to-5er. I'm just adding this as a side hustle. We get it. Whatever reason you're doing, we don't really care, for a matter of fact. We actually just want to help you get what you want. We don't care where you are in the process. We just want to know that you're in it because we want to help you win. The people we don't want to work with are the people we've got to drag, convince, or unfortunately, are kind of their own worst enemy. That's not going to get them what they want. That's the reason why in our level of career and where we are in our experience as entrepreneurs is that we are able to say, in order to be successful with the dynamics that we want you to be in, those are the qualifiers. Like, I'd rather disqualify you up front instead of trying to drag you and convince you along, because it's not going to work until you're ready to do these things, right? So Ty, I'll tell you about a client we are working with. She came from corporate America. Dynamic. I mean, just dynamic. She had been in this space over 15 years. And she said, Charlene, I want to own my time. And that was her driver. And I said, okay. I said, so what do you want? She goes, I want to coach. I said, all right. So in 90 days, we built her program. We got her pricing. We adjusted her brand. We helped focus on LinkedIn because that's where her prospects were. And one of the things that she said, she goes, Charlene, the reason why I'm having you coach me, I said, why? Because I said, you're smart. You're brilliant. You've been in this space. I am sure you are an expert. She said, because I need someone to keep me accountable. Because it's always easy to look at my 8-hour day and fill it with all the things that don't matter. And Ty, I don't know about you, but many of us need that accountability part. And that's not 100,000 followers, guys. That's so that you just do the work and do the reps.
Yeah. You're 100% right. Like the examples I just gave you, those 3 women, it was accountability was a major factor, right? People just need that partner, that guide, that person to pull them up when they're pulling back, or to soundboard when they're soundboarding. Again, it goes back to that isolation. Like, journey does not have to be isolated. You can join and be part of something a lot bigger and have that reassurance, that partnership, that person who's going to, have your back. So for sure, I totally get that accountability, and I get what that person's doing. People pay for accountability coaches just in that whole respect, like having that person side by side. It's what helps you at the gym. It's what helps you, if you're training for a marathon. It's what helps musicians. Those people are your guides. They're your partners in developing this.
And guys, when you think about price, so let's talk about that. Ty, and this is something very familiar to you and I. When we first started out, I am sure all of you had that moment where you're like, is someone really going to pay me $25? Right? Or $50 or whatever number that is. And we're going to tell you, everyone's going to pay the price based on the problem that you're solving for them and what that means to that bridge.
I agree. And for the people who don't pay the price, they're not your customer. I had a case recently where somebody came in and they asked me for this really big plan for their business. And I went in and I looked at the business and said, well, you need to do this, this, and this. And this is what will turn you around. And they're like, well, really want to have somebody on a consistent basis. I'm like, okay, great. This is what it's going to be. And this is what it's going to cost you. And they came back and said, we're just going to wait. And I was like, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to discount or compromise or say, oh, no, I'll do it. No, you want the customers you want to work with. And if a customer doesn't have the ability to pay your price for the value that you can provide, and again, that you've proven that you've accomplished over your tenure in your life, that's not your customer. That's not your customer then. They can come back when they're a little bit more secure. They can afford you. Great. But never compromise who you are, especially when you've built the value that you've built.
Right. And guys, this is something funny. I just said to someone yesterday when they were asking me about price and Ty, this is probably the hardest part of when you start out your coaching business, because many of you are going to think, well, that's why I need those many followers, so I get that much more chances. No, you also have to understand that these people that you're learning along the way with, right? They're not the story. You're the story. These are people just adding insight and intrigue and possibly some reflection, hopefully, because that's how you're going to learn. Sales is a skill. Marketing is a skill. Coaching is a skill. And so this next part, Ty, when we talk about this, the 100,000 followers don't matter when you haven't mastered the skill yet, even. If you don't know how a sales cycle runs or how to start a client or prospect a client to close, those are all skills in building your coaching business.
100%, Shar. And here's the thing. Your job is to get a client. That client has to get results. Once that client gets results, and we say this, I came from a tech background as well, you validated the product. You have proof of concept. You now have a result you can show the entire market to show.
Right.
It's not my accomplishments aren't academic. And my accomplishments aren't things that I learned in my career. My accomplishments are the ability to take all of that and, as Charlene said, translate it, coach it, share it with somebody else. Give them the tutelage that they need to learn what you know and what you've done and what you've practiced. And so your first customer's results are your calling card. It's what you go to market and say, look at me, I can do it. And then you do a couple things. You get more clients from the referrals of that first client, from the organic sharing of that first client's results, from that first client shouting from the rooftops the results that you've shared with them. And then as you get more and more results, guess what? That price goes up a little bit, because now it's like winning an Oscar or an Emmy Award. You've proven to the world you can do it, and here are the results. So you get to charge a little bit more. And then you get more results over a pool of clients, and you get to charge a little bit more until you're at a place where you are that highly desired coach because you are only known for getting results.
Exactly. Guys, as we wrap up today's live, there's a couple of things that obviously we couldn't just share because of time. And of course, there's probably something where a lot of you might feel like, well, I have one question. And that question is unique, and we get it and we understand it. And that's why Ty and I are available to you as you reach out on us on LinkedIn Lives, or you can reach out to us personally and DM us. But more importantly, as you join our community, that's the most important thing to remember, is that our community is going to help you on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Reach out to us, because CoachCon is built from the vision that Ty has had to really create a community and a movement that helps you start with where you are and really start at the foundational pieces that build a business, a coaching business, to be successful. Ty, tell them a little bit more about CoachCon. I know I want to keep them just excited and happy, but many of you are at this stage where you want to just find a place to start.
So we talked about your early journey. We talked about getting that first round of customers. We talked about just kind of getting from there to your next and your next and your next. And that's what CoachCon is for. CoachCon was designed as a 2-day virtual conference for early stage coaches and business owners who want to bring their team, bring their clients, bring their one-on-ones, and offer them a unique experience. As a coach, as a leader, you get to partner with experienced people like Charlene, like a few of our really big name speakers that we're going to announce this week and we're going to post on our website. But you get to partner with them. They get to inspire some content and be that voice. And then you get to translate that to your clients, to your customers, to your leaders in your organization in a private breakout room. We've built CoachCon so coaches and leaders like you can partner with icons of industry and share that knowledge, share that delivery, synthesize that information for the people that you're working with, for the curated group that you brought with you in the virtual space that we provided. It's going to be 2 days of learning about sales, marketing, every aspect of a business that you need to grow and run successfully. And we want you to bring your clients, bring your one-on-ones, bring your early stage group clients, and share the experience with them throughout the entire 2 days.
Wow, guys, can't wait for you to join us and be a part of our community, as well as for many of you who are aspiring to be coaches. Don't wait until October to join. Connect with us and reach out to us so we can help you navigate through this journey of starting your own coaching business. Thanks so much, Ty, for today. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you again next week, guys.
See you next week.